Nash, this one started with the story I don't think either of us actually expected.
A soccer ball over a fence.
Like literally a soccer ball over a fence. And from there, the game just kept opening doors for him. It took him to Carolina. It's where he met his wife. It led him to a career in sports. And eventually became part of this family and life they built together.
And that's really just only half the story.
Exactly. I mean, when we finished talking with Hassan, we realized there were really two conversations here. So today, it's about where sports took him.
But first, let's start from the beginning.
That's right. This is Hassan Pinto, the life sports gave him. Nash, what are we on? Episode 18?
18.
I cannot believe we're on 18.
Wow.
And we have got a showstopper today.
Yep.
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a long, long time. And one of the best things about this podcast is it's not really about sports. Sports is that backdrop, right?
Yes.
But we always find a way to conversations about life.
It's like Windows. You got the backdrop and then you got your apps.
That's right. We talk about family. We talk about relationships. And I'm super excited because today we have Hassan Pinto with us. And he has been around soccer almost his entire life. Player, coach, mentor, storyteller. He's got amazing projects with the Pinto Life, Blue Blood Rivalry. And I really want to get into everything he's accomplished. His wife, his kids, their journey with sports. So stop me talking. I don't want to talk anymore. Hassan, welcome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, so
how are you?
We are great, man. Especially now we got you here. Come on, this is gonna be awesome. Let's
Well, I'm
hit
so
it.
happy to be here.
Good. So let's start early. Give me everything about young Hassan. Let's start there.
Young Hassan, where should I start? I guess I'll start where it all began, right? So I started in Brooklyn, New York. Parents born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Had two 20-year-olds, young, motivated, a dad who was an entrepreneur, and they wanted the American dream. Okay. And where does that American dream go in the 70s? It goes to the suburbs. So I moved to a suburban town about 50 miles outside of New York City. All my family lived in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, the boroughs, right? But I was the guy that grew up in Long Island and right on the coast.
Okay.
And I had parents that had not only big dreams for themselves, but they had big dreams for my brothers and I. So,
Awesome.
so that's where it starts. It starts in New York. And what I would like to say is, like, I grew up what I call middle class blue collar, which I actually love, right? Because I felt like, the community, the town that I grew up in was a town where it just didn't matter who you were, what you were. What it mattered in that type of blue collar northeastern town was what you did. And so I was surrounded by great people, from coaches to firemen to policemen.
Wow.
Guys that and families that were just hardworking. And I think Brentwood, Long Island set the stage for me and my maturation.
Wow. Okay. So when did soccer become that thing? Like, how young were you when you first kicked the ball?
Okay, so up until I kicked the ball, I didn't even know what a ball was. Okay. So I had an older brother, and I'm going to give my brother, Earl Pinto, credit for my soccer career. He was actually 11 months older than me. So him and I are Irish twins, black Irish twins. And, 20-year-olds having kids at 19 and 20 and Irish twins. I give my parents a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Very ambitious.
That's a lot.
So they were ambitious. And my older brother, who was 11 months older than me, he went to preschool. And we had just moved out to Long Island from New York City. And he came back from preschool and he told me, he said, "Hey, there's this game. And and I want to play it. Everybody's playing it. And I said, well, what's the game? Basketball, football, baseball? He said, no, it's called soccer.
Mm.
And I said, well, what do you do? He says, you kick it. And I said, you kick the ball? He said, yeah. So my brother said, so he goes, so every day I come home from school, you have to come out in the backyard and you got to kick it with me. So I'm like 4 years old. He's
Okay.
like 5 years old, or 4 and 3 years old. So I'm getting this extra year of development. And so I kicked it with my brother. He was my big brother. He was doing things before me. So we'd go out and we'd kick it, but we didn't have a soccer ball. We had basketball. So
Ooh.
I would be in the backyard kicking a soccer ball. And then one day my dad came home from work, and I'll never forget this day. And he says to us, why are you kicking a basketball? And I said, well, that's all we have. And then he just flicked over the fence a soccer ball. He said, kick that.
Mm.
And then we
That's
started
amazing.
kicking that. And so the start of my soccer career was because my brother was like, well, there's a soccer club, where all these kids play. And I said, okay. And he said, Mom, I want to join the soccer club. And then my mom looked at my brother and said, okay, well, your little brother's going to play too. So she
Okay.
signed me for a soccer club. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And that's how it started. That's how soccer started for me. And I think the first year of soccer, I scored 27 goals.
Whoa.
No, it was the first season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a light bulb went on. I could see it. And I can see it to this day. A light bulb went off in my parents' head. And I was I was faster than everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it. I didn't
did
know.
the thing. Yeah.
Just ran.
Yeah,
So-
I ran it, and I've been playing soccer probably a year earlier than everybody.
So when did you realize like this could take you to somewhere else, like take you to school? Like when was that moment?
So my mother made me aware of it. So I said to my mom, it's like, I'm a baseball player, I'm a football player, I'm a basketball player. I'm really good at basketball. And I would say I started soccer about 4 or 5 years old, 4 in the backyard, and competitively about 5.
Okay.
At about 6, I said to my mother, how about baseball? How about football? She said, no, we're not doing that. And I said, what do you mean we're not doing that? She said, I said, that's what I want to play. She said, no, you're going to play soccer. And I looked at my dad, right? Because he didn't know anything about soccer.
Right.
And I said, Dad, are we playing football? And he said, no, you're playing soccer. And he
Okay.
said, you just stay focused right there.
Okay.
And I said, why? And he said, well, this game is probably going to take you wherever you want it to go. So that's when the light went off for me that maybe perhaps they saw something
Right.
that at the time I just had fun, right? But
Yeah.
and then over time I knew I was pretty guys was the
Right.
only transition. The
Oh.
technical parts I was pretty comfortable.
Hassan, why UNC? That's my question, because a lot of other people choose other programs. Why UNC?
So do you want the real story?
Yeah. We always want the real story.
Or do you want the fake story? Okay,
Either way.
I'll give you the real story. So I grew up in the Northeast. My brother ended up going to Cornell. He played soccer at Cornell, and my mom had a vision that I was using my soccer skills to get into Columbia University,
Ooh, okay.
or Princeton University, and soccer had taken me to all these campuses and had taken me all over the country. So I had a good vision by the time I was 15, 16, what Penn State looked like, what Clemson
Right.
looked like, what UVA looked like. And I wanted to play in warmer weather.
Okay.
And at that time, the ACC was the best conference, and probably still is. the best conference in soccer in the nation. So,
Yeah.
and if you could start in the ACC at that time, I mean, that was like playing pro soccer at that time because the best players were in it. So, so, so I took my recruiting trips to Princeton, to Columbia, to Lafayette, uh, to Duke, to Carolina, and a few others. Okay, and um, and then when I went to Duke, it just reminded me of everything I already knew. Like I just felt like I was going to a northeastern prep school,
Right.
and the Gothic architecture and all of that. And then I went on my recruiting trip to UNC, and then I came off the plane and I got on campus, and this girl said to me, "Hey," and I never really heard "Hey" right before, right?
Hey.
And it kind of like I don't know, it just touched my ears. I don't know what about it did something for me, but it was different.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I just felt like this was the place. And then I went to a basketball game that night
Yeah.
on campus. It was everything I wanted to be. At the time, Carolina was ranked 17th in the country, so it was good enough for my parents. It was a great school, number one or number two state school in the country.
Yep.
Um, and it had big time athletics. And I thought if I took the deal at Carolina, that I could potentially win a national championship.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so I took that opportunity, and it was one of the best days of my life when I just called Coach Elmar Bolovich and told him I'm coming to UNC.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So
About the campus, I remember you brought me on campus for like my first football game,
yes,
and I love
that
it.
campus is
I
magical.
love it
It
so much.
it
It's
changes
like,
you.
It's like a second home to me. I
It-
love it
it
so
is.
much.
It is. All right. So talk to me about meeting your wife, because you met your wife there, right?
Yes. So at that time, you know, another portion I did not talk about was at that time in my life, I was looking at colleges, but I was also looking at turning pro and going to Europe.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that summer I spent some time in Europe because our UNC team was in Europe. We were training.
Yeah.
And I played some really good games in Europe, and I was starting to get noticed by German scouts at that time, and but I didn't really understand, how good I was over in Europe because I thought the pathway for my parents was an Ivy League school, and you go on and you live a great life, right? So, and I kind of bucked the I kind of bucked that whole idea by not going to an Ivy League school and going to Carolina, and and I met my wife in a club called Players. I mean, it was a place where all the athletes hung out. It was something that on my recruiting trip was something that I wanted. And and my first bar in life was Four Corners. That was the first bar I ever went in, and Players in Four Corners were just like the quintessential college town dives, and I loved those places. And then one day my wife came up and she said, "Hey, hey."
That's amazing. All right. So then, let's talk about sort of finishing school and sort of what was the next step for your life and with her.
So
And wait, it's her birthday today, right?
it is her birthday.
Tell her we said hello and happy birthday.
We're gonna say happy birthday to her on the pod. Happy birthday, Melita. I
Yes,
know,
happy birthday.
yes, and I know like your birthday is super important, so we don't want to diminish it. We want to only shine light on her birthday. So happy birthday, Melita. So the question was, Matt?
So, like, talk to me about sort of finishing school, getting married, all that sort of stuff, and what was next.
So for me, I had always been trained that you go to college, you go get a job, you figure out what the next thing on your in your life was. Um, I graduated in 1994. The World Cup was that year, like the year I graduated. And the year after that, I believe 95, they launched the MLS. Okay. And but for whatever reason, I didn't really know. I mean, I guess they didn't have the internet. It wasn't like it was the launch of the MLS was a secret, like because I didn't know about it. Okay. And I was 1 year I was going to be 1 year out of school. And so I was thinking, okay, before it launched, but I didn't even know it was launching. So I went and I was saying, okay, well, what's the next step in my life? And my next step in my life was to work in sports. So at the end of my college career, I started working for UNC Athletics
Okay.
and just like doing interns, building a resume.
Yeah.
And then I started applying to internships with the Knicks, the Lakers, and lo and behold, the Lakers brought me in on an internship. And I went out to Los Angeles right after school. I was part of like the rebuilding because like 95 and 94 and 95, that was like the end of Magic's era for
Yeah.
first era. And then the start of the Shaq 97,
Yeah.
98 was the start of the Shaq Kobe era.
Yeah.
So I went out there, was part of the Lakers organization, and that became like such a magical learning experience in my life. And, and it changed me forever, to be honest.
You just blew Nash's entire mind because he is a
Hassan,
huge.
I'm a huge Lakers fan. Like
I'm a Lakers fan
huge.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
He,
huge. Like
he's got his Lakers t-shirt on right now too. So he's all in. He's all in.
Lakers.
So when did you and your wife get married?
So we got married in 1997. Okay.
Okay.
So I obviously went out to Los Angeles in 94. And my older brother, my brother enters my story again. He got into school at USC. I said, look, I got this internship with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And we decided that we were just going to get an apartment in Southern California and just go for it, right?
Yeah.
And like I had a year internship. I didn't know if it would be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I didn't know. And but I knew I was gonna go out to California and give it a go. And essentially I got hired full time by the Lakers.
Wow.
And my wife had another year in school because I was a year earlier, older than her.
Yeah.
And then the next year out of school, she took a job in Washington D.C. at the State Department.
Okay.
Her family was lifelong military folks, and totally right up her alley. State Department, government, and she just said, "Hey, listen, I want to come out to L.A." And I said, "Well, listen, if you're going to come out to L.A." then we got to really, if we're going to do this, then we've got to really like think about like the future.
Right.
And so we got engaged. She came out to Los Angeles. Then we got married. We had a child. She started working for ESPN. She met Mark Shapiro, who is a big time executive, a media executive for Endeavor now.
Yeah.
And she worked on the Sports Century, 100 Greatest Athletes, won an Emmy. And so I was in sports, and she was in sports television, and then that started our migration back to New York City.
Okay. So how do you guys complement each other? Where do you feel like yin yang, things like that?
Well, I think for us, I don't see her as like a different person than me. I see her as everything I'm not, and I see myself as everything she's not, right? Because we don't actually, we don't fit in the same holes, right? So if I'm a triangle and she's a circle, she fits in the circle, right? And I fit in the triangle, right?
Right.
So Do you remember that game, Matt?
Yeah, I totally do. Yes.
Yeah, so that's us, right? So she has her strengths. I think where we do well is she identifies my strengths really well, and I identify her strengths very well. And then some of the things that I think she's really good at, I just kind of listen to her, and the things that we both agree that I'm very good at, we just go for it, right?
Right.
Um, so I think we complement each other well. And so like with our careers, for example, I said, listen, she was always talking about being in sports journalism, being in journalism. She got a degree in industrial relations from UNC, but she was like, if I could do it over again, I would go back and be in the radio, television, the communication school at Carolina. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I know all these people here. This is Los Angeles. This is like a media capital. I have a
Right.
lot of friends. If you come out to Los Angeles, I have friends at ESPN now. Maybe we can get you an internship if you take the risk and come out.
Right.
And she took the risk and came out, and then her first job at ESPN was with Roy Firestone,
Okay.
and she worked on Up Close, which is a show from a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Up Close with Roy Firestone.
Okay. Oh, so parenting wise, like,
I mean, this dude's a great parent,
thank
in
you.
my opinion.
I appreciate that's the best compliment you've ever given me. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I wasn't expecting that. Like, what what do each of you bring to parenting?
Differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like I'm the driver, okay? Like I'm the
Okay.
one that kind of uh that says, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and 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 this is why we're gonna do it. And then and I don't put it in the way I should, but then she can translate that.
Okay.
And I think she does my translations.
Okay.
And so she translates the why to the kids a little bit better than I do.
Oh.
And
Okay.
and then it seems like they just kind of sign
Okay.
on to it.
All right. All right. So what did they inherit from you, and what did they inherit from your wife?
So I think for me and my wife, I think we're both like very, very, very driven people,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
in different ways.
Okay.
So my wife is like the silent driven one,
Okay.
and I'm like the overt driven one. Like I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna try, and I'm gonna try to do it win or fail, right?
Right. Right.
And but just because my wife won't tell you what she's trying to do or that she's better than you at something, she likes to win. So so I'll give you like a little anecdotal story. I had just taken a bowling class at UNC.
Ooh.
My wife played softball at UNC. She was
Yeah.
an athlete. And I had just taken a bowling class. It was like me, Rashid Wallace. And I was learning all these tricks. And I came back and I was like, yeah, I can bowl now. I can bowl. Like nobody can beat me. And she just kind of chuckled and she said, well, do you want to go bowling? I said, yeah.
Oh
Right.
no.
And I'm the type like, I won't let her win because I'm
Yeah.
just not going to do that. So I said, you go first. So then she grabs the ball and she just throws it down. She doesn't throw it real hard. She just throws it straight down the thing. She just throws a strike.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh.
Huh. Yeah.
And so then I try to do whatever I was trying to do, my curve, and I'm leaving pins, right? And she goes down and she bowls another strike.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Now it's on.
Then maybe I bowl a strike. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting back in there. And then she bowls 3 in a row.
Ooh.
And I knew, I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah. Right.
So her bedroom, and she has these trophies.
Okay.
And the person is like this. It's a
Uh-huh.
girl with a ponytail like this. So I never looked at the trophies.
Yes.
because I thought they were softball.
Oh, it was a
It's
pitcher.
bowling.
It was a bowling trophy.
She had like 25 bowling trophies, right?
Yeah, the town.
And and so net of the story is she like not only beat me, she destroyed me, and she just kind of laughed at me like, and
That's
and
amazing.
that's when I really knew that I liked her, and I was like, hold on, those trophy, and then I had to go back to her house and actually take a trophy down and look at it. Like, this is not a softball trophy. She's no, I was a bowling champion, So that's like how competitive she is. So,
Wow.
but she's like a calm,
Right. Not over the top.
not over the top competitor.
She's going to get you, though, and it's going to be quiet, and it's going to hurt.
And she's gonna laugh at you.
Yes.
She's not laugh. She's just gonna like
Chuckle.
chuckle.
She's going to do the Jordan.
Yeah. So,
All right, Nash, we're going to stop right here.
But we're definitely not done.
Oh, we're not even close to being done. I mean, because up to this point, we've really been talking about where sports took Hassan, right?
Yep.
University of North Carolina, his wife, his career, the beginning of their family. But right here, this is where the conversation shifts. It changes.
The reason why is because we started getting into the family.
That's right, we did. How he and his wife raised their kids, what they worried about, what they think they got right, what they learned, and kind of most importantly, what their kids ended up teaching them.
But we've got another conversation for you first.
That's right, we do. So in a couple weeks, we're going to bring episode 20. It's Hassan Pinto.
The big 2-0.
All right, so the big 2-0. Hassan Pinto, raising adults. Until then, we'll see you soon.
Bye.